Right now on WQAD News 8 at 9, passing the tax plan, how close Senate Republicans are right now on delivering on their promise for tax reform. What's still needed for the bill to become law? And raising awareness for AIDS. Today is World AIDS Day. Who is at the greatest risk of contracting HIV and how you can get tested in the Quad Cities for free.
Live from WQAD, this is News 8 at 9.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jim Mertens. Johnny has the night off and we begin tonight in Washington, where Senate Republicans say they have the votes to pass a massive tax reform package. You're looking live inside the Senate chambers right now. Republican leaders say they have made enough changes to the plan to win over Republican Senate holdouts. The changes include allowing property tax deductions up to $10,000 on local taxes and a bigger tax break for many businesses. Republicans claim it will benefit people in all income brackets and ignite the economy, but Democrats continue to rail against the plan, and senators continue to disagree on major components, including how it will ultimately impact children.
Not a single hearing on the bill. There was discussion, there was questions to some tax policy experts, but nothing in the way of hearings that could probe very deeply on what happens to kids.
More money in child tax credit, less taxes owed on the part of families, and more job opportunities and higher wages. I think it's a pretty safe bet that that's good for kids.
The bill still has a ways to go before it becomes law. It has to be reconciled with the House tax version. That's expected to take several weeks. Also out of Washington tonight, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn agrees to plead guilty today and cooperate with Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. As he left the courthouse, he was berated by protesters. The court filing alleges Flynn lied regarding two meetings he had with the Russian ambassador, Sergei Kislyak, in December of 2016. One of them involving discussions of sanctions the U.S. had imposed against Russia. And now CNN is reporting Flynn has implicated the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, as the one who told him to contact the Russian ambassador in the first place. The White House showed its support today for people living with or who have been killed by the AIDS virus. A huge red ribbon hanging outside. December 1st is World AIDS Day, and News 8's Christina-produced shows us the Quad Cities group that's working to overcome the barriers people with HIV still are facing today. Christina?
Hi, Jim. The theme for this year's World AIDS Day is increasing impact through transparency, accountability, and partnerships. In short, know your status and get tested. The Project of the Quad Cities is working to spread that message locally. Today they promoted their free and confidential HIV testing program. To get tested, people had to just take a quick finger prick and fill out a survey. According to HIV.gov, more than 1 million people in the U.S. are HIV positive, and 1 in 7 don't even know it. The CDC also says people with the highest risk of contracting the virus aren't the ones getting tested. That's what makes days like today so important.
We're out in the community a lot. We have 3 locations that people can come in anytime and get free testing, and it's not, it's not something you can die from anymore. It's treatable and preventable.
Heterosexual men and women with promiscuous partners, people who inject drugs, and gay and bisexual men are most likely to contract HIV. There is still no known cure, but thanks to advances in research and medicine, people living with HIV can prevent it from progressing to AIDS. Jim.
Thank you, Christina. For information on how to find your nearest free and confidential HIV testing location, go to our website and then that search bar at the very top of the page, type Get Tested to help find it. It's all at WQAD.com. Well, what a way to kick off December weather-wise in the Quad Cities with sunny skies, warmer than usual temperatures, and we want it to last forever. We know it won't. Storm Track 8 Chief Meteorologist James O'Hara is in the Weather Center right now. James?
And it may not last forever, Jim, but at least we can give you a few more days of it. That is for sure. Take a look at the daytime highs that we had across the area. No surprise, readings right back in those low to mid-50s. That's a good 15 degrees above the norm for this time of year. Skies have been clear throughout the evening hours. Winds have been fairly light. And this is where we are seeing a pretty good drop in numbers out there. Muscatine already around 30 degrees. Around 44 that we see around Galena. In the Quad Cities right now, we have a temperature of 38 degrees out there. and the skies are nice and clear with more of a southerly wind that will be taking place throughout the evening and overnight. I expect these temperatures to probably drop right around that freezing mark, stay that way, and then return to more of a above normal day as we head into our Saturday. And this is a stretch that we'll continue to see as we go through the weekend. So looking pretty good, plenty of sunshine too, but that transition to that Arctic cold is not too far away. It is in sight. I'll tell you when it's going to arrive, coming up in just a few minutes. Jim?
All right, thank you, James. Davenport continues its refusal to give former Fire Chief Lynn Washburn her job back, and now they're taking the case to court. The city has filed an appeal against its own Civil Service Commission's ruling to give Washburn a lower-ranking position back in the fire department. Former Chief Washburn was fired by Davenport City Administrator Corey Spiegel back in July, but the Civil Service Commission says because Washburn is a civil service employee, the city has to give her a lower-ranking position in the fire department. Assistant City Attorney Brian Hare says the commission's ruling goes against Iowa law. No word on the date of an appeal hearing, and still no word as to why Washburn was fired in the first place. New tonight at 9, a lack of affordable housing in Muscatine is stopping families that are ready to move out of a local homeless shelter. The Muscatine Center for Social Action's homeless shelter has a number of people ready to leave, but they say they can't afford to leave. A recent housing survey found that median rent is around $760 a month in Muscatine, and that's a price people on low income say they can't afford. The center's program director says Muscatine's lack of affordable housing is one of the leading causes of the area's rise in homelessness.
80% of the people who come into our shelter are first-time homeless, and their reason for homelessness is because there's not enough affordable housing in Muscatine.
This year, the shelter has served about 100 more people than last year. Chances are that you have seen him around town, a man running while carrying an American flag. We want you to meet him. It's Brian Gertz, a former United States Marine Corps corporal. He runs almost every day with Old Glory to raise awareness for veterans and mental health issues. He runs 22 miles a day, 1 mile for every veteran who commits suicide each day in the United States.
My goal, my cause, I think, is to let people know that there's always somebody there. There's always somebody there, whether it's a family member, another military, another veteran, somebody serving actively right now. There's always somebody to talk to. There's always, there's always a way out.
Brian's planned an even bigger challenge for next May when he will take his running shoes and flag to Omaha, Nebraska. He'll run from there to Menlo, Iowa to raise money for veterans' mental health awareness. For the 40th year in a row, the Village of East Davenport is kicking off December with its annual Christmas walk. Shoppers are invited to wander the streets of the East Village, taking in the sights and the sounds of the season. The event features live music, trolley rides, holiday treats, thanks to businesses like Lago Marcino's and others that are in that area. Santa even's going to be making an appearance. Business owners say this is a great opportunity to show off what the village has to offer.
It's such a great night for the whole community to come together. There are different events at each of the stores. We have little bonfires outside and carolers, Santas, and it's a really fun night for everybody.
Just need a little snow if you take a look at this picture. If you missed tonight's walk, the event continues tomorrow from 6 until 9.
And no doubt we have some pretty good weather for that. Outstanding weather once again as we go through the weekend with this unseasonably warm air. But we're counting it down, folks. That Arctic cold is definitely on its way. Made a few tweaks as far as how cold those numbers are going to get. And I'll show you that coming up on News 8 at 9.
You're watching WQAD. This is News 8 at 9.